So we have a specific rule that we like to use here. This is actually something I learned in my very first Lindy Hop class more than 20 years ago, right? And I've loved it so much I've used it ever since. In this hand is the most delicious cookie that has ever existed in the history of cookies. And this cookie is so delicious that you are going to not only look at the cookie, but you're going to point your shoulders, hips, knees, and feet towards the cookie 100% of the time. Turn your feet. There you go. Good. Now you can do this as well without stepping. You can just twist your feet, just pivot, right? But both feet pointed towards the cookie at all times. This also helps you to make your turns. And it allows us to make turns far more specifically and with more control than otherwise. We have what we kind of call a trigger turn. A trigger turn is like you pull the trigger and so you turn, right? So like, make me do a turn, inside or outside. That's a trigger turn, right? As soon as I feel my partner's turning me, I start to turn. That's not great, okay? We want a little bit more control about that. So instead, turns are progressive. And if I stop you here, then that's as far as you go, because here's where the cookie is. And as the cookie moves further, or changes direction, then you stay in control, okay? Now the cookie actually stays a particular distance from you, okay? We don't go right for the cookie because, you know, if you eat the cookie, you don't have it anymore, right? But you have to keep your eyes on it because it is the most delicious cookie that's ever existed. So this right now, this is about the perfect distance, okay? And if the cookie moves farther away from you, then you have to get closer. If the cookie moves closer to you, then you have to get farther away. And so when you release the arm and you release that connection, then your job is not to be moved. Your job is simply to stay behind the cookie. Hold up. Right there. Good. Yes. Exactly. Okay? So this becomes the main instruction for movement. Is that you're trying to stay at a particular distance behind your hand, which does not mean that when your hand gets pushed, you have to move with it, but that if I see my hand suddenly here, I go, oh, that's wrong. This is the wrong position for the hand. I don't want the hand to be here. I want the hand to be this distance in front of me. But since my partner is controlling my arm, I'm not going to put it back. I'm going to move my body to the correct location. Forward, backwards, side. And then I have, and rotation as well, right? So I'm trying to stay in line with the cookie. If the cookie moves out here, I have to turn my body so that I'm facing it. That allows us to have a connection that is incredibly soft, because there's almost no force to it, but incredibly clear, because you always know exactly where you're supposed to go. Where's the cookie? Yeah. And you keep that in mind, you're always just able to just track it down. Okay? So let's just do this as a real quick exercise. I want you to release your shoulder as much as you can. Release your elbow, release your wrist, hook the fingers. Good. Nice, okay? So let's have a little bounce here. I'm going to count out 5, 6, 7, 8, and I want you to just do a one step with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Keep the arm loose. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Relax it, let it go. Doesn't matter where the arm goes. You're just going to get behind it. Good. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Let it go past you. Don't worry about holding the shoulders. Relax the wrist for me. Everything soft all the way through. Yes. Good. Relax it. Nice. Good. Cool. That is good, solid connection. Anytime there's any resistance, anytime there's a force of the follower pulling back against the leader has to return that force. This is Newton's laws of motion, right? This is equal and opposite resistance, right? So if you pull against me, I have to pull against you, right? Or I have to let it go, which I can't do that, right? Not if I'm leading the position. Or that's a bad thing to say. Most of the time, that's not what I'm trying to do. I can't always let you follow through with the motion, right? But if I'm trying to lead a particular step, say for example, like a swing out, 5, 6, 7, 8, then when I connect here, I can't allow you to be the one to pull my hand out of position. I have to be the one to redirect you, right? So, we have this feeling of releasing through most of the joints in the arm that gives us still connection, gives us still clear instruction, but without force, without the need of the leader to slow down and create the resistance there. So this is actually a big key about speed as well, because anytime we pull, be my leader for one more second and pull me around, right? You can feel that this is slower. Yeah. Right? Like the ability to move my body is going to take you more time and more energy than if I just say, no, the arms move as fast as you can move my arms, right? They're so lightweight, it's like as fast as you can move your own arms. Very quick, right? Yeah. And you'll still get me to go where I'm going, but it's done by me, right? I have the energy to move my own body. You give me instruction, not power. Yeah? The only exceptions to this come when it starts to get faster or more dynamic steps where you cannot change direction fast enough, right? This, of course, happens even with swing outs, right? If you're doing a swing out at a fast speed, then the speed at which you come into my arm is probably faster than you can quickly change direction on your own, but it's the same for me. We use the energy from each other to redirect it. But if we don't need that, then we turn it off. Yeah. We let everything go loose.
We save energy.
Exactly. Yeah, and energy should always be concentrated in our strongest muscles, okay? Like, if you have to move a couch around your apartment, then it's easier to plant your feet and push than it is to try and do it just with your arm, right? Like, you just don't have the strength the same way. It comes from your body. Well, our legs are so strong from carrying us all day long that we've got a lot of power in our ankles, our knees, our thighs, our hips, right, our core. These are our strong muscles. This is super weak, right? Like, we just don't have a lot of strength in the arm. So if we put energy and force and resistance in the arm, we're going to have a harder time leading and following than if we relax the weaker muscles and strengthen or intensify the stronger ones. Okay? So movement comes from the legs, but is instructed by the arms, and instruction doesn't take any force. Okay?